Hey everyone, welcome back to AFTV. Welcome to the Starting 11 show. Whoa, it's back, Turkish. The Europa League is back.
The last 7 times we're going to hear this music.
Whoa, all together now, everyone, no?
He's going to have to swap seats in a minute.
Yeah.
I can't wait. I can't wait to not hear that music again, like next season.
Well, I think use that music for the Champions League and then everyone's a winner.
Yeah.
I don't know about that.
Is that not the way?
The team to sing the Champions League anthem soon.
I can't get that high. That's a difficult one. The Europa League one they made nice and easy.
You've got a few months to practice.
Well, that's true. That's all. A couple of months.
Listen, we've got Cecil dancing. It's time you start singing.
Actually, that's a fair point. The 11 is going to be out any second. So let's welcome the panel. We have Robbie. We have Sharoy. We have Turkish. And your host, James.
And we have James.
Oh, thanks so much.
It's like a forever Arsenal get-together apart from me, isn't it?
Oh, yeah.
It is. Actually, don't watch Forever Arsenal, Robbie, because I've been slagging off the Invincibles podcast on it a few times.
Oh, is it?
Yeah,
Oh, is that right?
There's just a bit of a rivalry's developed. We're trying to get Lee to admit that, well, that he prefers it with us, but he won't.
Well, he was talking about if you come bottom of the prediction league, you get relegated to Invincible. My friend. That's what he was saying. Yeah?
Is that right?
Who's winning between you and Lee on the predictions?
Listen, I'll beat him every week now, man.
Okay, so
He ain't won in that for ages.
so Robbie would get promoted to Forever and I'll get dropped down to...
He won last week. Actually, he won last week, but that's the first time he's won in ages.
Fair enough.
So
Enough. Right, let's keep an eye out. The 11 will be out very shortly, apparently, because it's the Europa League. They tend to announce it a good hour and a half before. We are keeping an eye on it. Nothing I can see so far. Let's just start the discussion on what we want to see. Because there are rumours about Trossard. Well, not rumours. We had to confirm that Trossard, Eddie, Tierney didn't train. Tierney ill. Eddie, we know, has had a problem. Trossard went off injured. So what are we hoping to see, especially from a front three, guys?
what I was hoping to see was like pure changes, but now that we know that Trossard's not going to be playing, Eddie's not going to be playing, it's got to be Martinelli, isn't it? Martinelli's got to start down the middle. I don't think we've got any choice. And then I think Smith Rowe, I think hopefully he'll be fit enough to start the game, and Reece Nelson. Reece Nelson's got to start. After his goal the other day, and his assist as well. His confidence will be high. As a matter of fact, Smith Rowe assisted in that game as well. I didn't even realise that until I went home the evening after the game and watched it.
Yeah.
Right? And it was actually a decent, because even though he just sort of put you back into the mixer, it was a good little header that he sort of looped back in there that caused problems, and that got us underway with the first goal. So they all had goal contributions, But I'd see that, and I'm excited to see Reece Nelson.
Yeah,
I'm excited to see him. After the other day, I know he's on a high because he actually spoke to us on Monday. He spoke to the guys, Laurie and also Guna Lee. He spoke to me as well. We managed to get him on a FaceTime, and he was getting his hair cut, and I think he's buzzing for the next game. So. But I'm excited to see him because I thought he came on and he was electric. So I'm thinking that's the front three, but sure.
Yeah, I'd agree. I mean, one thing about the Europa League is I wouldn't want wholesale change, but I would have wanted some rotation. I think the Martinelli down the middle thing is a given. Mm-hmm. But when you're looking at the injuries and who we have coming back, I don't think there really is much alternative, to be honest. Mm-hmm. And the thing is, look, Smith Rowe on the left and Reece on the right. Reece's little cameo sort of came at a very good time because a lot of people might have been unenthused about the fact that Reece was starting or may well have forgotten about him because in the first team squad he wasn't even included, right? Because the squad is so deep now that for a game or two there wasn't room for him on the bench. But he comes in, brings this new lease of life in terms of his Arsenal career, and now people are excited to see him today. So I'm quite enthusiastic about that front three. And again, I mean, injuries in the back line will actually warrant a back four that I think probably selects itself as well, and that wouldn't have been the case had Tierney been fit, in my opinion.
Okay, no, so that's interesting. So we'll get your thoughts on this as well, Turkey, but the Kivior situation, I mean, we signed him for 20 million. When you look at the fact that there's Rob Holding there, Tomiyasu could play centre-back if he needed, Cedric was a part of the squad before we let him go. Kivior wasn't exactly a must sign, was he? I mean, even White you can slot back to centre-back. So, surely he's going to play. We spent 20 million of him in January.
In my opinion, he's got to start. I'm actually intrigued to see what he's about as well.
Yeah.
Didn't know anything about him till you open up Twitter and you open up the headlines and you see Arsenal are going in for a a centre-back, a left-footed centre-back, and I just didn't think that was high on the priority list in January. So now we've got that done. Surely this is the game we're going to give him, because that's the only other competition we're in.
Yeah.
I know you mentioned Rob Holding, but I'd prefer Saliba to partner up with Kiwior. Lee mentioned them forever. It was Jordan that mentioned maybe Rob Holding and Kiwior, but for me that's too much change in my opinion. I'd want one of the first team regulars there, albeit a young William Saliba, and Kiwior next to him. And from what I've read about Kiwior, from what I've heard about Kiwior, he's very good at playing out at the back. He's got a good passing range as well. So it sounds like he'd partner up with Saliba quite well in terms of Saliba's strengths too. So I think Kiwior's got to start this game.
Yeah, you guys same on Kiwior?
Yeah, I was going Rob Holding, Kiwior. I hear what you're saying, because it's sort of two players that haven't, started games, haven't played together. But Rob Holding, I don't know. It's kind of it's kind of like it's his turn to get a game.
I know what you mean.
And then I want to see Kiwior, like you said. You know what I mean? We have bought him as a sort of long-term player, but he's, there have been good reports on him, and he did play. He played in the World Cup, played every game for Poland. You know what I mean? I want to see him. I really would want to see him. But I hear what you're saying, Turkish. Is it too much change in those two positions? Should you still have one guy in there that's got that experience? So maybe, I think if it boiled down to it, then I would have to go, Saliba, Kiwior.
Yeah.
Because I want to see Kiwior. That's just from a quite selfish point of view. But then I guess if you're doing it from a sensible point of view, then it should really probably be Holding and Gabriel. Well, and then if you think about it, if then anything happens to Gabriel, you can bring on Kiwior, because he is a sort of left-sided, left-footed centre-back.
We've got a comment from Best in the World, says Saliba and Kiwior for me, Holding can come on later. So I think he's anticipating a 1-0 lead for Arsenal, and then Holding with the 5-4-1 to see it out. Fair enough. The thing with the Kiwior thing is and with Rob Holding, to be fair, if you were to go for both, something won't make sense. So if you start both, then you've really... Have you got the 11, Robbie? Oh, sorry.
No, I was trying to see if the 11's come, but I haven't quite got it.
Then you're really rotating. If you play Holding, then you're wondering, not why you signed Kiwior, but you are thinking, okay, could that have not waited to the summer, or 20 million in January? You think that he's going to have an impact immediately, and then kind of the other way, if you bring on Rob Holding and don't start Kiwior, I think the question is there such thing as over rotation as well? Because we saw against Man City, we rotated with a few players, it actually sparked a spell of bad momentum for Arsenal.
Yeah, although the performance in that Man City game, I don't think was down to rotation. I think we actually
we were good, yeah.
But going one step further with the Kiwior signing, I actually think he was bought because of this competition.
Right.
If you're looking at the Europa League group stages, Gabriel had to play a hell of a lot because there was no alternative. And I think this is exactly why we bought him. And I think that's why he starts. And exactly what you say about wholesale change, I remember, was it a couple of years ago, we got dumped out of the FA Cup by Southampton. And I was fuming because that was wholesale change. That wasn't rotation with a bit of nous. Whereas now, if I'm looking at the back four, I think realistically, if you've got Kiwior and Saliba in there, you not only have experience, but you can bed in that new signing with a little bit of excitement. And I mean, the fullback positions are up for grabs. Personally, I'm probably going Tomiyasu on the left and Ben White on the right, just to make sure that there is an element of solidity there.
I've just had a little bit of a potential brainwave. What if it's Kiwior at left back? Think about it. Tierney's out. He's played there before. The fullback comes into midfield anyway, and he's played as a holding midfielder. Then you don't have to over-rotate. You can give Holding the game time and Gabriel, and Tomiyasu right back.
I think Shura said it though. Gabriel he doesn't necessarily need a rest.
Okay, Saliba and Holding.
Well, I guess, listen, two right-footed centre-backs has been predominantly in history. That's what it tends to be. But in modern-day football now, managers, especially modern managers like Mikel Arteta today, like one left-footed, one right-footed. I look at Kiwior and I haven't seen him play aside from some highlights and those things on YouTube. He doesn't seem the profile for me for a left back. He seems quite tall and I'm not sure he's got too much pace about him. So potentially, because he has played there before, but I just think he is Gabriel's understudy. He is the one that's going to be competing with him moving forward.
And if you're going to give him his first team debut, surely you'd want it in the position that he will be playing in for the foreseeable future, because this is his first impression for the vast majority of Arsenal fans, right? You don't want to weaken that.
Sure.
Because if he does play at left back and it's underwhelming, suddenly the fan base and the impression of the player takes a hit that it doesn't necessarily need at the outset of someone's career. That's why I think it makes more sense to play him in his favoured position from the outset.
Yeah, and okay, so if it's not going to be Kivior at left back, then the question comes up about Zinchenko and Tomiyasu.
I'm going Tommy.
You're going Tomiyasu?
I'm going Zinchenko with Tomiyasu on the right.
Really?
That's what I'm leaning towards.
Because White didn't start on the weekend, did he? Which is why I think he might start today.
Yeah, but they had 45 each, innit?
Yeah.
He's such a vital player, right? White, I feel that, I want to see him fresh for Sunday. To me, the most important game for me is Sunday. I'm still leaning that way. I mean, even if we was to lose tonight, we can get him back in the second leg. We can go strong in that game, and the game after the second leg is at home. But even though I know Lisbon's not far, but he's still travelling and things like that, I would really want to see some of those major players for Arsenal left back in reserve, and fresh for Sunday, because that's a big game. That's a big game on Sunday. Away at Fulham. It's not an easy game either.
That'll be tough.
So
it'll be tough. Remember your transfer dailies when you were talking about Manor Solomon.
Manor Solomon, yeah.
Look at
He's
him
been
now.
playing really well, hasn't he? He scored
pretty much a goal a game.
I think 4 in 4 he scored. He's been looking really good. So Sunday's a very important game, and I don't want to see Saka playing. I don't want to see Partey playing. Right, those two in particular. I didn't really want to see Martinelli playing either, but I get it. But those two, Partey, Saka,
protect. And to be honest,
all costs.
to be honest with you, Tommy and Zinchenko, Ben White and Tomiyasu, I think we should get the job done either way. And by job done in the first leg, I mean not lose. Whether it's a draw or a win, I'm comfortable with both options.
Sure. Yeah, I know what you mean. It doesn't all have to be job done tonight.
But so
Their best player plays on the left, right?
Well, so this is what I'm going to go into some of their players. Depends who you mean by their best player. I mean, Sporting have had some players for a few years now that have been talked about. The likes of Pedro Goncalves. He's one that we've talked about.
Does he play on the left?
Left of a front three, says here in a 4-3-3. Can also play in midfield. We know Marcus Edwards, former Tottenham. And played really well when he went there as well, didn't he?
Played really well against Tottenham, didn't he?
Yeah.
Both legs.
Yeah.
Scored a goal, innit?
Yeah.
Yes, he did. Was that the one from distance at the Tottenham?
I think that
so,
was at Tottenham.
Yeah.
That was a great goal. I mean, this is a team that got a draw at Tottenham, although most teams are picking up points at Tottenham, and then beat them 2-0 as well in the group stage.
Yeah.
But Tottenham's still able to progress over Sporting. So they've been able to do something, in the Champions League, and they've shown that they're dangerous. They've got players. I mean, there's Nuno Santos down the left wing. Is another one.
Didn't they play PSV in the last round?
Yeah,
and PSV were in our
qualified.
group.
So let's have a little look.
They beat us in our group.
If I'm not mistaken, they played PSV, or am I wrong?
No, they played Midtjylland.
Okay.
Midtjylland, if I pronounce that right.
Okay.
I remember when they played Tottenham, I thought they were a bit fortunate in that first game to win 2-0, to be honest. I mean, obviously I was really happy, but they were a bit fortunate in that first game to win 2-0. Remember, there was 2 late goals. They sort of scored one in literally the 90th minute, and then another one straight after. I think it was actually Pedro Porro, wasn't it? He scored. And then in the second leg as well, they was a little bit fortunate in that one as well. So they're not a poor team, but they're not a great team. They're a decent side. You know what I mean?
Well, here's a stat for you.
Listen, I think it's not going to be an easy game, but
they've progressed through each of their last 6 ties against English teams in the knockout stages of UEFA Cup / Europa League, with all 6 coming against different teams.
But we did beat them. I remember being over there.
Group stage game, wasn't it? Danny Welbeck.
Yeah, we beat them. We beat Sporting over both games. So
I think they've got 4 wins in their last 4, though, similar to us, if I'm not mistaken.
Should we have a little look at their form? Because I've got it.
And them stats don't mean much to me, I think.
Who against?
It's good to read, but...
Yeah, they've won their last 4.
So it's sort of...
They've won I think they've won their last 5 in the league. If you look at the league table, currently...
4th, isn't it?
They're 4th, 15 wins out of 23. 2 draws, 6 defeats. They've scored 46 goals. They've conceded 23. The first 3 in the league are Benfica, Porto, and Braga. Benfica running away with it a little bit. So, is it the top 2? It looks like the top 2 get Champions League football. So, yeah, We've seen what they can do, but this is over many years. Like Sporting have always been a club that I respect, even if they've not been getting to the very latter stages. You know, when we were drawn with Sporting, a lot of people were saying, "Oh, good draw." I wasn't really convinced by that because I think look at AC Milan; they're not having the best season, but there's something about a degree
of.
of.
Milan, are they? I mean,
no, but
listen,
there's something to say for familiarity in Europe.
Yeah, I've got a lot of respect for them. You know what I mean? And they did beat Tottenham. You know what I mean? They played them over 2 legs. Didn't lose any of those games. 1-1, drew 1. We've got to respect them. But imagine, I'm also thinking to myself, imagine sitting down and watching the equivalent Sporting fan TV.
Yeah.
Assessing Arsenal. They'd be saying, well, listen, they haven't lost their last 4 either. They're top of the league. They top their Europa League group. And they've got this player, that player, that player, that player. I can name out loads. So...
Would they also be saying, though, this Arsenal side might have one eye on the Premier League, so this is a decent time to play them?
They might.
If I was on their channel, that's probably what I'd be thinking.
They might be, but I think they'd be very fearful of playing us because, you know, you're like, we're playing a Premier League team that's right at the top of the league.
Yeah.
This is not Tottenham. We're playing a better team than Tottenham, right? So...
Say it again, say it again. Say it again.
This is not Tottenham. We're playing a better team. It might be Tottenham next year when they're in the Europa League. If they're in the Europa League, it might be in the Conference League. But, you know... By the way, that was funny last night. I couldn't believe that they.
I can believe it.
They didn't even make an effort to try and get through in that because you know I don't think AC.
They're finished, man. Tottenham are finished.
Yeah. The great commentator
before they even started, they're finished, but they are finished.
It was so toothless. Even I didn't think they'd go out like that. I thought they might. I
thought they were going to go through. I thought they were going to have a bit of a like what Chelsea have done in Europe when they've been awful, but they just find a way to have a big European night, whatever. Yeah. But no, they. Yeah, it really surprised me because it's not like I was watching AC Milan thinking, "Wow, they look completely impenetrable here."
I'm seeing some rumours about the squad.
Go on.
They look confident.
All right, the first one that I'm seeing here is it's got. This is the team that's they're saying it is. Turner in goal, Ben White, Saliba, Kivior, Zinchenko, Jorginho, Vieira, Xhaka, Saka, Martinelli and Nelson.
Really?
If that's the team, I'll be really happy.
No Gabriel Jesus in the squad. This is that's the first one I'm seeing, but that's not confirmed yet. But that's what I'm seeing.
Saka's Mr. Reliable, isn't it? That's what it is.
I didn't want him in there, man.
Yeah,
we've got to wrap that guy up in cotton wool, man.
Yeah, that's how I feel as well. But you know, even in the group stages of the Europa League, you saw Saka a hell of a lot more than you would have thought you'd be seeing Saka against them teams. And how many games has he banged out in a row now for Arsenal?
It's incredible.
It's coming up to 70, if I'm not mistaken.
For what it's worth, it does look like that is the team because it's being screenshot and shared around via the Europa League app as well. So that feels like a pretty reliable source. So the side that you've just listed, we'll just remind everyone if you didn't hear that, Turner in goal.
Turner in goal, yeah. Sorry.
That's all right. Do you want to do it?
No, you go ahead.
Oh, thank you so much. Should we do a position each?
Go on.
Let's just rattle through. Turner in goal, White, Saliba, Kivior, Zinchenko as the back four, Jorginho, Vieira, Xhaka, with Saka, Martinelli and Nelson.
That is strong, man.
That is the team. That is, and I like that.
That is what the Jorginho signing does for the balance of the team, even when you rotate. When you're looking at Jorginho and Xhaka in there with Vieira for that bit of creativity, you have experience, you have strength, you have a real sort of engine room that I think we wouldn't have had unless we started Thomas Partey in weeks gone by. You know, that fills me with confidence, particularly because of Jorginho's European pedigree. You know, this is exactly the sort of competition where he should be dictating the play.
Yeah. I think against better teams it lacks mobility, but I think it should still get the job done against Sporting.
That is a strong team. Yeah, that is a strong team. That's
I've always said I'll never complain about Arteta going stronger than I'd have wanted.
Correct.
Yeah.
Like my only thing is if I say make a few changes, and then the whole B team goes out, then I'm like, oh no. I felt a little bit like that about the FA Cup tie. That was probably the first time in a long time I'd been disappointed with an Arteta 11 because I wanted to go full strength with City in that FA Cup game, punch for punch. Well, no, you said no, but you said you wanted to hold something back for the Premier League game, and they beat us 3-1 anyway.
True, but
Partey got injured, man. That changed it.
It did. No, you're right. But
what's the formation, do you reckon, for this?
That's a 4-3-3.
That's an unchanged formation.
With what?
Reece left, Saka right.
So what's the back four then?
White, Saliba, Kivior, Zinchenko.
Saliba occupied. White right back.
Yeah.
Zinni left back. Kivior left centre back. Saliba right centre back.
Yeah.
What did you say again?
Oh, you think you're funny?
Now, I'm just reiterating it for this guy. Yeah, because he keeps telling me that according to him, Zinchenko's playing in midfield, and he just said it. You heard him, clip it. He said it in his own words, right? That Zinchenko will be playing as a left back. You said it,
I don't
right?
think
So before you stop, because he was sending me messages during the week, look, midfield positioning and stuff like that. You just said it with your own words.
It was actually a zonal match.
What was that graphic though?
It measured expected threat from each position on the pitch.
What, across the Premier League?
Yeah.
And Zinchenko was in the
highest for that left centre mid role. This is what I mean.
When he drops into that, but he starts as a left back.
With 12 games to go, you've lost the bet now officially.
No, I think I've officially. I think it's on like 18-0 down.
Yeah, so you might
But
as well pay up.
no Jesus in the squad.
100 quid is going to cost me.
So
But he did travel.
Was it 100?
Yeah.
Yeah. You think that's just then, that is just part of the bringing him back to fitness thing, just making Jesus travel, train,
Be around it, yeah.
just sort of be around it, just getting him, he's still part of.
I think the warm downs are a big thing as well. After the
After the game of the
win.
weekend, he warmed down with the team, didn't
Yeah, they had like a little bit of a training session after. Can you imagine, I was saying on the live, can you imagine the euphoria of that win and then it's, right, put your bibs on. We've got a warm down to do.
Yeah.
But maybe that's quite a good way of refocusing the players.
I think the two home games next week, Sporting and then Crystal Palace, that's when we should introduce Jesus if he's available. 20-30 minutes against Leeds after international break. Start him, ready for Anfield the week after.
I don't really appreciate this from Anthony saying, James is getting brave, sack him. Wow. He's getting brave.
I don't know if you did the bench, James.
I don't have the bench. Do you have the bench?
The bench looks like it's Ramsdale, Hilson, Thomas Partey, Gabriel, Smith Rowe, Holding, Tomiyasu, Bandera, Sergio Jr., Smith and Walters.
No Nketiah still.
So
No Odegaard.
No Nketiah.
No Odegaard.
No Odegaard, yeah, no Odegaard. I'm glad he's rested.
I hope that is
No
rested.
Odegaard. I hope that's rested.
Yeah, I'd assume
But
so.
no Odegaard at all. No Jesus, as we know. No Trossard. So quite a few players missing.
Still enough on that bench.
But still enough on, still enough we can bring on Smith Rowe. I am excited to see that front line with, Saka, and also Reece Nelson, and with Martinelli down the middle. That's quite an exciting front three, isn't it?
And when Trossard was playing, we were talking about how it adds a bit to the front three because they can interchange. I mean, if that front three could interchange, this front three certainly can, right? I mean, you really don't know what position they're going to occupy for the full 90.
Did you say Smith Rowe's on the bench?
Yeah.
Okay, well that's good. I was slightly worried.
Yeah.
Fine.
So I guess Reece Nelson, it's all there for him. I mean, if he has a big game, he could start at the weekend as well, couldn't he?
Well, do you know what is a real disservice to Nelson is he put in a really good performance against Brighton in that Carabao Cup game that we
Great
got
assist
knocked
for the
out.
Nketiah goal, remember?
Right, and because A, we were knocked out, and B, it wasn't being shown anywhere, I don't think the world kind of really got to appreciate how well he played in that game. That was quite soon after the Forest performance as well, when he scored 2 goals. So,
But he then gets injured.
and then he gets
In between,
injured.
yeah.
And I'll be honest, I mean, in the mid-season friendlies, I'm not sure I was seeing anything particularly special in that time. But he did get injured either the first or second game. It might have been the first, actually.
Is Bellerin playing?
Actually, maybe it was the third. Bellerin isn't. So here's the Sporting 11. Adan in goal. Mateus Reis. Juste, how am I pronouncing that? Coates, we'll remember him from his Liverpool days. Morita, Edwards, former Tottenham. Francisco Trincao, who formed Barcelona. We've seen him playing at Wolves as well. Paulinho, Gonzalo Inacio, who Football Manager tells me is a very good centre-back. Pedro Goncalves and Ricardo Esgaio.
Bellerin on the bench. I don't know if you've got it.
I told man that this guy is not good enough for Arsenal. People argue me. Listen, I've been wrong about players for sure. Hands up, I've been wrong. But I was not wrong about that man. Bellerin was never good enough for Arsenal. Following his first year, breakthrough year, it's been a slow decline, and now he's not even starting for Sporting.
Funny enough, you know what? I was looking back at the other day.
I have to disagree.
Some of our teams over the past few years, right? And you look at that team now. I mean, when a lot of people say about, what we're doing now, but look at the difference in the teams, like in some of the personnel that's now no longer at the club. Even when I looked at, I was looking at the running for last year, And, you know, even though we crumbled, when you look at some of the players that were playing, you know, when we started, I think against Tottenham, we started with
Holding.
Cedric, Holding. I think
Tomiyasu at left back.
Yeah, we had
Partey was
El
injured for
Neni.
that, wasn't he?
Yeah, El Neni played in the midfield. I think Eddie play?
Eddie
Or was
up
it
front,
Lacazette? You know what I mean? It's a completely different team now. It's just it really is so different now. You know what I mean? And that's one of the reasons why we're playing so well as well, because we've just got better players.
Yeah.
We've
Can't
got better
disagree with that.
players like all over the pitch. You know, and then the players that are coming in now, like a Reece Nelson, realise you've got to raise your game up or you ain't playing.
That's what
If
it
you
does.
don't- Yeah, that's what it does, isn't it? When you've got
Yeah.
quality there. When you come in now, if you don't raise your game up, you know, you're not going to get in that side. So
Turkish.
I'm excited to see two players tonight, and that is Reece Nelson, Kivior.
Yeah.
Well, what's people saying?
Athik just wants to remind you that you were wrong about Xhaka and you wanted Daka.
Listen, Daka and Eddie, there's still a debate there. I'm not having that.
No, there's no
And
debate.
about Xhaka, and
There
about
is-
about Xhaka, I wasn't wrong about Xhaka. This is Xhaka's best season by far
No, he
in,
played well last
in a
season.
new position.
He played well last
He did-
season.
He wasn't
He
great
did.
last season. He wasn't.
He did. He played well
How
last
much has he
season.
stepped up this season, Rob?
He stepped up a hell of a lot this season, but I felt that last season he's one of our best players as well. He was very consistent last season. He started off the season badly. Remember, he got
Consistently average.
No. I think that after he came back after that sending off against City, remember that was right as he started off the season, usual Xhaka, got sent off and everything. But after that, I felt that he was very consistent throughout the season. I thought he had a good season, and he's built upon that this season. But are we with that guy when they're on the Pats and Daka?
And you know, okay, let me cut in there. Now, let me cut in there. You know that conversation. Hold on. You know what? This is what the internet does. This conversation I was having with Rob at the start of the season. Yeah, we was talking about backup strikers. I didn't say I want Daka. What I said is Daka's a better backup striker than
he's
Eddie.
not. No, he's not.
All
Nowhere
right.
near.
Well, whatever. They've got what? One's got 4 goals. One's got 3 goals. What's
So how many games has Daka played?
Not that many more than Eddie. Even more.
He's
more.
much better than Daka.
Much, Rob.
Much
that word,
better.
much. I don't know what you're doing.
Much better than Daka.
Whatever.
Look at
Listen,
some
I'm
of
not
the
about
goals-
to argue
look at
against.
some of the important goals that Eddie scored.
He scored important
He
goals.
scored against big teams like Chelsea. He scored against Man United. You know what I mean? What's Daka done?
Yeah, I don't watch Leicester like that to know, but
You two need to bring out that show.
it's true, you know.
No, we've been talking about a show in the background. Honestly,
Not
we need
Daka.
it.
Sorry,
But people have to admit that this is Xhaka's best season by far in a new position.
He's taken too long to get. I've got one right. That this is sort of coming off of Arsenal a bit right now. This is one where I'm putting myself out there. In a I told you so to all you Tottenham fans. I told you this guy Romero is just an okay defender.
It's not just that, but I actually think he's got some sort of psychiatric
Yeah,
issues.
and
mate.
he's
Like,
rash.
the way that he gets
and
himself
I
sent
remember
off.
I was at the World Cup, right, and he was the same. Rash. They kept taking him off all the time because he's so rash.
Were you listening to Glenn Hoddle last night by any chance on the coverage?
I wasn't, no.
What he was saying is he's managed people like Romero before, and he guarantees that Romero's temperament was probably the same when he was 14 and 15. And throughout that sort of youth period of football, you try and stamp that out until they become professional. But the fact is, this guy's been professional for so long, and it's the same mistake week in, week out, and he's not learning. It makes you wonder whether this is just what you're going to get with
But they
Romero.
were telling me he's better
Yeah.
than Saliba. Are you mad?
No,
Tottenham
man.
fans?
You know, Tottenham fans are a bit.
Farning agrees with you. He's calling the rest of us deluded.
Just on what? Bellerin,
No,
Eddie, or
on
Xhaka?
that.
I don't know which
The
one.
Bellerin thing, he was right. He was right on the Bellerin one.
On the
Bellerin-
Cronkies? No, on Daka.
on the Bellerin one, I always felt that, like...
Remember, you used to back Ainsley make the nails bare as well.
Ainsley-
Since we're calling
I thought
each other out.
Yeah, I thought Ainsley...
Now the guy don't start for whoever he's at, Southampton or something.
No, I saw him play for Southampton the other day.
He started about 5 games this season, man. We was
had
asking
an
for him to
assist,
be
but-
right back.
Ainsley's a better right back than Bellerin.
Yeah, but flipping, no, it's like picking out a fucking...
Don't finish. Don't finish the sentence. Just leave it at that.
Yeah, let's leave it at that.
Let's go through some super chats. Nick says, "What's more iconic, Ty's hat, James' glasses, or Turkish's beard?"
Turkish's beard.
I'm going for the beard.
Ty's
Beard,
hat.
man.
I'm going for
Ty's
the
hat.
beard.
No, love the beard, but
Beard,
Ty's hat.
Yeah, I'm not sure the glasses
I'm going
make
for
it. Okay, and Dave Jordan says, "Lee Judge is tearing his hair out over Saka starting."
Yeah, he'll be fuming about that. He will be fuming.
I'm
He
a
will
bit-
be.
I didn't want him to start, man.
Yeah, that's the general feeling you get straight away when you
If
see him.
anything happens to that kid, man,
But maybe it's get the job done in the first leg, and then next leg we get the. Maybe that's the approach from Arteta.
Yeah, I mean, you know what? I heard. Is it Danny Mills this morning saying that he's making a point that sometimes it's not a distraction or it's not a thing to play like a Europa League game, because he goes, all it means is he goes, if you're, as long as you're on form,
Keeps you in the groove.
yeah, it keeps you in the groove. And he goes, what would you be doing on a Thursday? You'd be training anyway, a training game. So he goes, it's something that just keeps you sharp. And he goes, if you're on form, he goes, it works against you the other way if you're not on form. So if you're a team that's not playing well and then you've got a Thursday night game, that can work against you. But if you're on form, so I don't want nothing to. I guess you can get injured in training, innit?
That Liverpool result aside, a lot of people were saying the same about Ten Hag. The fact that he was not rotating very much and taking every competition seriously sort of enhanced that momentum and created a winning mentality. Obviously, that somewhat went to shit with the Liverpool result, but I think that might be what Arteta's trying to do here, just cultivate that winning mentality, which is why Jesus perhaps was never going to be in this squad, but they took him anyway, because what's the one thing that everyone says Jesus has been doing whilst he's injured? He's been in and around that first team mix-up,
that's true.
Elevating them, cheering them on, and that might be why he's travelled.
That's a really, really good point. Robbie, the predictions, are we doing them now or in the watch-along?
We're going to do them in the watch-along, just at the start of the watch-along.
Cool.
So get everybody's prediction, find out.
My predictions actually changed because of the strength of that lineup, if I'm being honest.
That's fair enough. We've got a super chat from Terra Official TV. She's coming up with a name for a Turkish and Robbie show. They've gone with Gunning for Glory. But I will say that I like the name, but there's a really good name behind the scenes.
soon released.
That I don't want to unveil, because when you'll see it, you'll go, that's clever. All right, well, if there's no predictions till the watch along, let's just remind everyone of the starting 11s, which I've managed to lose. Robbie, have you got them?
Turner in goal, Ben White right back, Zinni left back.
Oh, it's there.
Saliba and Kivior centre backs, Jorginho, Xhaka and Vieira, the midfield three, Reece on the left, Saka on the right, and Martinelli up top.
Nice. The subs. Give me the subs then.
Smith.
Why are you still on his neck?
Smith.
Hilson.
Who?
Hilson.
Yes.
Ramsdale.
Yep.
Smith Rowe.
Yep.
What's his Serjan?
No, he wasn't on there, was he?
No.
He said some new name.
Saju. I'll give you that one.
Saju, man. Saju, Serjan. That's
Sago.
it done, man. That's the bench.
Partey.
Bandeira. Yep, Partey.
Sky wants me to remember Bandeira.
Raul Waters.
Walters.
Oh,
nice.
Walters.
How many more left? Rob Holding.
Yeah.
Tomiyasu.
Partey.
Partey's been
No,
said.
said Partey already. There's one big one you lot have all missed.
Tomiyasu.
Gabriel.
Gabriel.
Oh, is Tomiyasu there or
Huh?
is Tomiyasu even there?
Yeah, Tomiyasu. You lot said
did we
Tomiyasu
say
already.
it? Oh,
I think you said Tomiyasu already. Didn't you?
Fair enough. Well, that's the team professionally delivered by all of us on the sofa. Going to thank Robbie for joining us. Thank you, Sharoy. Thank you, Turkish. And we'll be back in about half an hour for the watch along. The whoa competition is back. Why don't you sing with me, man?
By the way, Bellerin's not even.
You
on
miss
the bench.
Cecil too much, man.
But it's your favourite song.
Yeah.
You come into work.
Cecil, come back.
You should see him drive
Come
off
back.
into the distance after work. 6 p.m. the show's done. He's off listening to whoa.
That's
whoa.
you singing it while I'm
It's
driving
true.
off.
No Bellerin, not even on the bench for.
No better on the
scoring.
bench.
Yeah.
Okay. Fair
No,
enough.
maybe he's injured
Maybe
then.
he's injured.
Poor lad.
You're taking a piss.
Wrap it up. Wrap it up. Big thanks for watching, guys. We'll be back in half an hour for the watch along. Kick off at 5:45 UK time. Cecil and Lee are out there. The fan cams will be coming out. Julian's with them as well.
Ty's over there.
Ty's over there as well. There you go. They're all there to give their reaction live from the ground. We're here in the studio to cover the match as every ball is kicked.
go.
And we will be keeping you up to date with it. You'll see our reactions. We'll be on the information station as well, giving you info and all that. So we'll see you very soon. Half an hour. Come back and join us.